Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Stephanie, and I'm just going to get right into it. I am a former first grade teacher, a reading interventionist, and a one-on-one tutor. And I am just so happy you're here to join me and learn a little bit about how to take a child who's learning to read to a confident reader. And we can do it pretty quickly in about 8 weeks. Um, I just want to start by saying that I am here for you. I, no matter where you are in your child's reading journey, you're in the right place. Whether your child is just starting out and you want to make sure they learn to read the right way, or if they have been at it for a little while and it's not coming together yet, you are going to learn exactly what it takes for them to become a confident reader. Because what I'm sharing with you tonight is the gold standard of reading instruction. This is what actually helps children learn to read in a way that sticks. So, my goal for you tonight is to walk away breathing a sigh of relief and feeling excited for their reading future. Before we go any further, I just want to check in with you for a second. Do any of these behaviors look or sound familiar? Maybe when you sit down to read with your child, you notice things like them guessing words. Um, they might look at pictures and make up the story instead of reading the words, which is really great when they're early beginning readers. But if you notice that they're not actually attempting to sound out words, that's when it becomes problematic. Maybe they are skipping or changing words. Maybe they're waiting for you to tell them what the words are. And sometimes reading can feel so hard, they avoid it altogether. And if you're willing to share maybe a thumbs up or a, yeah, me too, then you can indicate that you can relate to some of those statements. So you might be wondering if that's been your experience. Um, Maybe you're wondering, is this normal? Uh, is this the way it's supposed to be? Or are they behind? And maybe even you're wondering, am I doing this right? Maybe no one has given you a clear answer. And here's what most parents are told: just read with them every night. They'll get it when they're ready. Or even this one, focus on memorizing sight words. But here's the truth, and it's the most important idea of tonight. Reading is not a natural human skill. Walking is natural, talking is natural, but reading is not. Humans have had spoken language for far longer than we've had written language, and that means the brain does not automatically learn to read. It has to be taught. The brain must learn how to connect symbols to sounds through explicit instruction and practice. And learning to read is like learning a secret code. So letters are symbols, and those symbols represent sounds. Those sounds blend together to form words. If you don't know the code, the page is meaningless. I want you to look at this string of symbols here. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how hard you try, you cannot read it. Not because you're not capable, but because no one taught you the code yet. That's what reading feels like for so many of our kiddos. They look at the words and their brains say, I don't understand what this means. And for those of you who have kids who have been struggling with reading, that this is why reading struggles can be so emotional because they get frustrated and they don't just feel confused because it's happening again and again. They start to feel defeated. And that's what we're trying to avoid. We don't want kids to feel bad about themselves and their ability or their difficulty with reading, I should say. So now imagine that same message slowly changing. The symbols start to turn into letters, and the letters look familiar. You begin to recognize them and pair them with sounds. You say the sounds and the blend, and then you blend the sounds together to form words. And then you realize, oh, I can read this. That shift from confusion to clarity is everything. That's what happens when children learn the code. So once we understand that reading is a code, the next question becomes, what would instruction look like if it were built around how the brain actually learns? The good news is this has been studied extensively. Researchers who study the brain and reading acquisition have helped us to understand what actually helps children learn to read successfully. So, whether you're supporting a child at home after their school day, or you're choosing a reading program for your homeschooler, these are the things researchers would say to look for. You got to make sure instruction is at the right level. Children make the most progress when instruction is in that sweet spot, not too hard that it feels frustrating, and not too easy that it becomes boring. Think Goldilocks. When children experience success, their confidence grows and learning accelerates. You also want to make sure that the phonics is systematic. So, phonics is the instruction that actually teaches children the connection between letters and the sounds they make. Children thrive when letter sound connections are taught clearly and in sequence. Instead of random exposure or guessing strategies, skills need to build layer by layer so reading becomes more predictable and less overwhelming. Another thing we need to make sure that the researchers have taught us is what we need is that learning needs to be multisensory. The more senses involved, the better. Children remember more when they tap sounds on their fingers, say the sounds out loud, trace letters, and write words. These hands-on experiences help learning stick. Researchers would say this kind of learning deepens the neural pathway in the brain. We also need to make sure our children have lots of opportunities to respond. Reading is a skill, and skills grow through practice, active practice, that is. Children need chances to say sounds, blend words, read, write, and respond out loud. Think of it like practicing an instrument. Kids need hands-on practice to make progress. The same is true for reading. With that said, they also need immediate feedback, which helps mistakes become learning moments instead of frustration. All right, moving on. A good reading program includes repetition and routine. Children thrive on a predictable structure. When lessons follow a familiar routine, children can focus less on what's happening next and more on the reading itself. Routine builds confidence, and the repetition of it strengthens memory and automaticity. And definitely not last, I'm sorry, last, but definitely not least, sorry, children need a supportive environment. Children learn best when they feel safe to try. Mistakes are part of learning to read, and encouragement and small wins help children believe I can do hard things. I want to share something personal here because it might surprise you. When I first became a first grade teacher, and this is me in my classroom in DC, I remember thinking, I don't actually know how to teach children how to read. I had the curriculum, I had the classroom, I had the training I was given, but no one taught me how our brains learn to read. I didn't know that teaching reading was about teaching the code. In fact, the curriculum I was given encouraged guessing strategies, not explicit phonics. So, again, that phonics is how kids learn the code. So, some of my students learned, but not all of them. There were always kids who were trying, who were capable, but were still confused. And I couldn't fully reach them yet. That didn't sit right with me. So I started digging. And everything changed when I understood that Well, first of all, why did I understand? I had to study how our brains learn to read. So I got into the science of reading. I discovered orthographic mapping and learned more about what it actually looks like in brain scans and how it all comes together. And I really solidified my understanding of reading instruction has to be focused on the code breaking, and that sounds and symbols are the connection. So, um, I, let's see, yes, I learned how children connect sounds to symbols, how decoding develops, why some kids get it and others don't. And that started to help things click for me. Then when I changed my instruction, like I threw out the old curriculum, the guessing strategies, the what do good readers do? Oh, they think about what the story's about and they look at the picture. Oh, and then when they read the sentence, does this make sense? No, that doesn't make sense. Let's try a different word. All of that old curriculum, I changed it. I threw it out and I applied the science of reading. And guess what? It says right here, their growth changed. They made major progress, much more than we did before. And that's when I knew that reading isn't about effort, it's about how it's taught. That's right. It's also not about intelligence, it's about how it's taught. Over the last decade, I've taken everything I've learned about what actually works in children's brains, sorry. And this is what I mentioned is called the science of reading, which is a body of research about reading acquisition. And I built out a system that I'm sharing with you tonight. Um, because I had parents that asked me again and again, how can I help at home? And there wasn't a resource I could fully get behind. So I created the Sounded Out system. This is a system that I can confidently share with families that this works. And so that's how the Sounded Out system was built. It was designed to take everything we know about how children actually learn to read and put it into a clear step-by-step process that your child can follow. So instead of guessing, instead of feeling overwhelmed, your child knows exactly how to approach a word. Everything inside the system is intentionally built around what we just talked about: systematic phonics, multisensory learning, repetition, opportunities to respond, and confidence building, but done in a way that feels simple and doable at home. So inside the Sounded Out system, there are 24 step-by-step video lessons where I teach your child directly, a student workbook with structured practice that looks like this, all that good stuff, and a parent guide that supports you along the way. And here's the most important part. You don't have to figure out how to teach reading. You don't have to wonder what to say next. You don't have to piece this together on your own. You press play. I teach, your child learns, and you support. Let's get right. Now, instead of explaining more about the system, I want you to experience what it actually feels like. So, for the next few minutes, I want you to imagine you're the student and you're going to experience a lesson in the Sounded Out system. So, before we work on skills, we work on confidence. The language that kids say about themselves shapes their effort. And when kids feel safe and capable, they're much more willing to try. So join me in our positive Let's get right into our positive statements. The first one is, I am capable of great things. Your turn. I am capable of great things. Let's have it. The second positive statement is, I will work hard to reach my full potential. Your turn. I will work hard to reach my full potential. Okay. So next we practice hearing sounds in words. Finger tapping gives a clear strategy instead of guessing. Kids tap once for each sound they hear. For blending, we tap the sounds and then blend the word. And for separating, we slide the word first and then separate the sounds. And you'll notice something important. There are no letters yet. I don't have any letters that show up on the screen. And that's intentional because hearing sounds in words comes before reading them. So before I start the video, I'm going to have to teach you quickly how to tap outwards. So like I said, blending, we tap the sounds first. So we're going to tap our first finger and thumb, tap our middle finger and thumb, and then tap our ring finger and thumb. And then I bunch them together like this and slide them down the slide. So for a word, let's practice cat, we would do k, a, t, cat. Whoops. For separating, it would be the opposite. We'd say the word first, cat, and then we'd separate those sounds. K, a, t. Great. And I also, at the end of separating, I normally finish it with the word again because it feels weird to just leave it hanging. Let me do that one again. Cat, k, a, t, cat. Okay, let's watch the video. Let's get into finger tapping. We'll blend first. S, us. Fun. T, nut. Now we'll get into separating. Remember, I'm going to slide twice so you can hear the word. The first one is cup. Ready? Cup. K, p, cup. Great. Mud. Mud. D. Cut. Cut. K, t, cut. Great job. All right. So next up is reading letters. And now we connect the sounds to those letters. We read letters in every lesson so kids can instantly connect what they see to the sound it makes. And repetition is what builds automaticity. One thing you'll notice is that I'm careful to say the sound clearly and not add an at the end. For example, we'd say not m, or s, not s. And that small difference helps kids blend words much more easily. So when you read these letters, you're going to say the sounds they make as they appear on the screen. So I want you to say this out loud.
It's time to say our letter sounds.
S, d, I, g, ah, And one thing to note, we start slower as they do lesson one, then lesson two, lesson three. It builds and the momentum carries them forward, and it speeds up over time. But we can always have our children mute the video so they can try on their own or pause it if anything goes too fast and they need a minute to catch up. For writing letters, this helps our kids write letters while they say the sound. And this strengthens the connection in the brain. The fancy word for this is called orthographic mapping. I mentioned it earlier. And that's actually how our brains acquire reading and writing, and it's the foundation in the brain for reading. That's how in the brain, I think I said that wrong. That's how we can read words automatically because we have orthographically mapped them as we learn to read. So writing actually supports reading a lot more than people realize, and we also make this multisensory. So kids could throwing things. Kids can write on a gel board, or I call this a boogie board. Um, this is a fun one. And then also a dry erase board. So you could use something that is fun for the kids. And again, making it multisensory is what helps strengthen that orthographic mapping in the brain. And I'm just looking for a dry erase marker. I've had a reading camp all week, so my stuff is everywhere. I don't actually think I see one here. So maybe I'll just use the gel board. Okay, so let's watch the video. Wait. Oh, I forgot to tell you. If you don't have a gel board with you, you can pretend to, or you can skywrite with me. So that means like take your finger that you write with and trace the letter in the sky, like A says ah. So you're going to say the letter name and the sound it makes as we watch the videos together.
Now it's time for writing letters. The sound is I. Repeat, I. I says I. The sound is G. Repeat, G. G says G.
Make sure you repeat. I didn't do that the first time.
The sound is F. Repeat, F. F says F. The sound is ah. Repeat, ah. O says ah.
And here we'd be like, oh, that's going too fast. I need to pause it every time. Okay. Ah. O says ah. Or let's try another one.
The sound is T. Repeat, T.
Okay, I need a second. So I'm going to pause it. T, T, T says T. So the kids that go through my program go at their own pace. If they need to pause it, it's easy enough for them to just pause and have a second to write that letter. But some kids, as they do a few lessons of the videos, they just pick up that pace and they build that speed and stamina. Okay, we can skip through that. You get the idea? Next up is decoding. This is where kids start turning those letter sounds into words. You'll see the letters appear one at a time, and you're going to tap the sounds and blend them together. This decoding is the beginning of reading. And I want you to notice sometimes we use pretend words, and that helps us know that kids are actually decoding, not just memorizing. So put your tapping hand up and get ready to say the sounds and slide the word with me.
Now put your tapping hand up for decoding. The third word is a pretend word. G, A, T,
got,
got.
G,
G,
A, gap, A, G,
G,
pag. All right. So vowels can be tricky, and we practice them intentionally and pair them with movements. This helps kids hear and feel the difference. First, I need to teach you the movements. So repeat after me. A says a, E says like an elephant trunk. I says like I have an itch on my head. O says ah, I'm drawing an O around my mouth. And U says like I'm going up.
Get ready to make the motions as we do vowel practice. The word is Oz. Repeat, Oz. O says ah. The word is in. Repeat, in. I says I. The word is ag. Repeat, ag. A says a. The word is cad. Repeat, cad. A says a. The word is lip. Repeat, lip. I says I. The word is tot. Repeat, tot. O says ah.
Okay, that's vowel practice. Then we get into the new skill. This is where I introduce one concept at a time. So clear instruction prevents overload and helps kids build skills and understanding step by step. I also tell kids what their mouth looks like. Oh, I don't have my mirror here. Because knowing their mouth, tongue, and teeth and lip position will help them pronounce the new letter sounds correctly.
Today I'm going to teach you the letter U. The short U says like in the word umbrella bird. The U is a vowel. To make the sound, open your mouth and drop your chin a little bit. Look in the mirror to make sure your mouth looks like this. The U can come at the beginning of a word, like in the word up. It can also come in the middle of a word, like in the word cut.
So next up is letter formation. Handwriting actually plays a very important role in learning to read. Correct letter formation leads to better reading outcomes. I teach a pull paper technique that helps kids visualize where the letters go, which ones start at the top, in the sky, I mean, which sit on the line and which go underwater. When kids form letters on the pool paper, the brain connects what they see, what they hear, and how they move their hand. And the multisensory practice strengthens how letters are stored in the brain for reading and spelling. So I'll try to rush through this.
Pause the video to get your
information.
materials ready for letter formation. If you're using the workbook, this is the page we're on. The U does not go in the sky or underwater. It starts above the pool noodle. Start at the top, go down, around, and up, and then draw a straight line down. Start at the top, go down, around, and up, and draw a straight line down.
Then they can draw a few more, and then they circle their best one.
The U's you've drawn and circle.
Finally, we read words. This is where they tap out words. They can see the whole word, and then they have a picture appear to make sure they were correct. And if you think back to finger tapping, blending is the reading words part. And then next we'll get into writing words, and that's the separating, where we say the word and then separate the sounds. And that's when they write those sounds or the letters down. So blending is reading and separating is writing.
It's time for reading words. Get your tapping hand up, tap out the words, and read them out loud.
Nut.
Nut.
I forgot about that. Sorry. P, cup.
Cup.
Sun. Sun.
Sun.
My doggie wants to come say hi. Oh, no, she's over there. I forgot. Okay, next up is writing words.
Now it's time for writing words.
I forgot.
Pause the video to get your notebook.
Okay, remember, we slide the word and separate the sounds and write those letters that we hear. Oh my goodness. You gonna go outside? Sorry about that.
Ready. If you're using the workbook, this is the page we're on. Number 1, the word is fun. Tap it out and write the sounds you hear. Fun.
So you would go fun. Okay.
It's spelled F-U-N.
Okay. Like that.
Number 2, the word is cut. Tap it out and write the sounds you hear. Cut. Cut is spelled C-U-T.
And real quick, I made all of the videos before I made the workbook for level 1. Level 2, I did it in the right order, which was workbook and then videos. Anyway, so they look like that here, but this is where the kids will write, and they're the number of lines of how many letters there are on the word. So fun, cut, and then let's see, what's the last one?
Mud is spelled M-U-D.
And that gives them plenty of time to tap the sounds and write what they hear.
If you're
Okay. Future lessons, and like I said, we build, we progress through as we go through the lessons, we add sections each time. So it's not all, we don't do all 15 sections at once in the first lesson. So with that said, the future lessons include heart words, which help kids learn the tricky part of and high frequency words. And then Rainbow Write, which strengthens that letter sound connection in those same heart words. Making words is my favorite. It's hands-on word building where kids can move around letters to read and spell words. Again, that's like the blending and separating, reading and spelling. And this comes in the workbook. So you would just print it, tear it out, and actually it doesn't come like this. So you'd print it and then get it bound. So you wouldn't bind those. Anyway, and then you can cut them out and let your kids use those words, those letters for making words. Oh my goodness, it's getting late. I'm sorry. So before I move into common questions that families ask, I want to acknowledge something that might already be going through your mind. Yes, I created this program, and yes, I am selling it, but you don't have to buy this program to help your child, truly. My hope is that tonight gave you a clarity about why your child might be struggling or what good reading instruction actually looks like. And so you could absolutely take what I showed you tonight and piece together activities at home. You could practice phonemic awareness, decoding, writing, and structured repetition with your child. But if watching these lessons felt like an exhale, like, whew, this finally makes sense, and this is exactly what I need, then this is why families purchase the system. Not because they can't do it themselves, but because they don't want to carry the full burden of becoming the reading teacher at home. So families choose the sounded out system because I provide the structure, the sequence, the pacing, the instruction. I do the teaching so you can spend less time fighting about reading and more time cheering on your child as they grow in confidence and enjoying books together. Honestly, sometimes children respond differently when the instruction comes from someone other than mom or dad. And I know that was true in my own home. So let me answer a few common questions before getting started. So I don't have enough time. I get it. Life is busy. If your child is just starting to read or struggling, you do need to make the time because you don't have time to waste. Practicing the wrong way costs too much. Kids lose confidence, they shut down, and they no longer believe in themselves. Practicing with the right tools actually saves time and energy. The great news is that the system takes about 10 to 15 minutes a day, and I do the teaching for you. All you have to do is press play. Along the same lines, I'm exhausted. I don't want to learn another thing. Um, I get it. I have my own kids. Life is full. Kids melt down. Parents are exhausted. Anything extra feels impossible. So let's use our precious time responsibly. Start with the right system. You can take what you're learning tonight and do it on your own, or you can use the Sounded Out system, which does the work for you. Other parents wonder if this is going to contradict what your child is learning in school. Your child is definitely getting reading instruction in school. They might even get additional intervention support, but it's worth considering providing support at home because reading doesn't always click in the classroom. That's because the pace might be too fast. Classrooms have to move forward, and some kids need more time with certain skills. Kids might need more exposure. One or two lessons is rarely enough for mastery. A lot of kids disengage when they fall behind. If they feel lost, they go quiet. They stop raising their hand, not because they don't care, but because it's embarrassing to say, I don't get it. Another thing is there are too many distractions. Oh, don't get me started on the distractions in school. There's noise, movement, social dynamics, friendship drama, sensory overload that can all interfere with learning. And lastly, multisensory input. Kids need to see it, hear it, say it, touch it to learn it, to make it stick. And most importantly, I got to fly here, sorry. Kids just need someone to slow it down. So this system slows it down for them. It goes at their pace and repeats and builds that mastery. Okay, that was a lot about school. I already said that. I'm not the teacher, and my child doesn't want me to be. Okay, my own son hated it when I tried to work with him on reading. He'd much rather learn from somebody else, and many parents are in the same boat. You don't want reading lessons to ruin your connection. Just press play, and I guide your child step by step. If it's too hard or too easy, it's a common question. The system is designed to build a strong foundation in reading and writing. The course does build on itself in a systematic way, so kids always feel confident. I've had second graders start with this level to solidify these important foundational skills. And I am working on level two. It's getting closer. So if your child breezes through this course, they can automatically enroll in level two for free to keep their learning on a forward path. Um, That's only for a little bit of time. All right. In an effort to protect our time tonight, I'm going to go through my testimonials quickly. Of course, they're testimonials. Wyatt was my first tester. Sorry, I'm going to stay back with Wyatt. Okay. Um, let's see. Like many kids, he needed extra support and was put in an intervention group at school. That was partly because the pace was a little fast. And like many kids, I just said that. He started watching my Sound It Out system videos, and just because I needed his feedback, he's a son of my friends. And he not only stayed engaged during the lessons, but he asked to watch them again and again. So his teacher was so blown away by his progress that the teachers, there were two of them, asked his mom if they had hired a tutor. And no, it was just the videos. Amy's family speaks Mandarin at home, and her mom is an English, sorry, and her mom is a language professor at George Mason University. Um, English reading at home was a challenge, so she approached the like support for her with extensive research and high expectations. She enrolled her in Kumon, and that didn't quite move the needle. It goes back to the Goldilocks lesson. They were giving her work that was not on her level. It was too hard, and she was just getting frustrated. We met in our community, and she started watching the videos and made progress immediately. They unlocked reading and writing in English in a way that Kumon had not. Valente is a very creative, bright kid, and he has a short attention span and was overwhelmed with distractions in class. The videos for him was the right pace, no distractions, entertaining enough to keep going, and he felt so good about his progress. So he was confident and wanted to keep watching them. And then Amelia had tried other programs through her homeschool instruction with her mom, but those programs were a little too hard, actually. So the Sound It Out system videos helped her on the right level, and she made great progress and is loving reading and writing these days. So all of those pieces come together in one system. And when kids are given the right way to try, they stop guessing and they start believing in themselves. So if what you saw tonight made you think, oh, wow, this finally makes sense, then your child doesn't need more pressure. They need the right system. And so the next step is the Sound It Out system. It's the piece that takes everything you saw and puts it into a clear step-by-step path your child can follow at home. It's not just about reading, it's about what happens when reading finally clicks. The meltdowns ease up, the frustration fades, and your child can feel proud instead of defeated. So I'm offering the Sound It Out system. It is being sold for an introductory price of $97. But as uh, you watching this video on the replay or live tonight, I'm offering you half off for the next 24 hours. So that is going to be found at readin8weeks.com and use code SOUND for half off. So just to put that into perspective, that's less than one tutoring session, one dinner out as a family, one tank of gas. But unlike those things, this has the potential to completely change how your child feels about reading. A mom told me recently she would have paid $3,000 for this because it transformed her relationship with her first grader. The fighting disappeared, the resistance faded, and her son walks around with a whole new confidence because he finally feels successful. So, my last question is it worth it? Is it worth it to move from frustration, guessing, and shutdowns to a child who reads confidently and believes, I can do this? Thank you for being with me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Sound It Out system.